The mountains, cities, culture, natural beauty, hiking, skiing, mountain biking, legal weed, great beer, 300 days of sun. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you might want to buy an STR here in Colorado. But the number one reason that I see my clients buying a vacation rental is that they want something. So why would you buy an STR in Colorado? It's really not that complicated. I mean, 93 million people visit the state every year, and it's pretty obvious to see why. It's a beautiful state, the city, the mountains, everything in between. But let's discuss 3 actual reasons why you might buy an STR in the state. Okay, so the first reason that you might buy a short-term rental here in Colorado, it's a little bit of a cheat because it's not actually a short-term rental. It's because you want a second home here in Colorado. You want to visit the mountains, you want to hike, you want to ski, you want to visit Denver and the culture, you want to mountain bike, you want to enjoy the great beer, you want to enjoy the beautiful weather. I am seeing a lot of clients who are nearing retirement. Maybe they have kids here. I'm thinking of some clients of mine who just closed on a property in a city that's adjacent to Denver where you can actually do short-term rentals. By the way, you want to make sure that you check out the laws in all these cities and counties where you might be looking, because it's a total patchwork across the state and you don't want to buy a place where you can't do what you want to do. These clients, they have always loved Denver. They want to potentially retire here. They want to visit in the meantime. And they thought we were just wasting money by renting out Airbnbs and short-term rentals when they came. And so let's just buy a place. Let's get a place that we can visit right now and enjoy the city, and then also maybe move into once they retire here in a few years. The great thing about buying a pure second home is that you don't have to worry about the laws. You're not going to rent it out. You do not have to abide by any less than 30-day rental rules that most cities and most counties in Colorado have. Which brings me to the second reason that people buy a short-term rental here in Colorado. You want a vacation rental in Colorado, right? Like I said, these reasons are not rocket science, but it is good to understand what you're looking to do when you're buying a property. Now, if you want a short-term rental, the biggest thing that you need to look at right off the top is, can you do it? In Colorado, there is no state law. Places like Arizona, for instance, places like Florida, I believe, they have a state law that prohibits cities from passing any prohibitions against short-term rentals. So in those states, it is fair game everywhere you want. That's not the case here in Colorado. In Colorado, there's no state law. All of the short-term rental rules, the Airbnb regulations are city to city, county to county. And so you need to know which cities you can do it in and which counties you cannot. Because increasingly so, it's difficult to find the areas that allow for non-owner occupied short-term rentals or Airbnb investments, if you want to think about it that way. Maybe a good reason to work with a realtor who understands the Airbnb laws. Just saying. Okay, so if you get past that first hurdle, you have found an area that you like where the STR rules are favorable to Airbnb investments, then you need to look at the numbers. And the numbers are not what they were a few years ago. This is true in Colorado. This is true all across the country. In 2020, 2021, during the early times of COVID, everybody started to travel. Everybody worked from home. And so they thought, well, I will work from home over in Colorado, or I will work for home out in the Smoky Mountains, and they traveled a lot. Well, there wasn't enough supply of vacation rentals to meet that demand, and so prices went up, revenues went up. Savvy investors saw this, they jumped into the STR market, and so in the preceding years and on into right now, the supply of vacation rentals is probably higher than the demand requires. And beware of trusting a liberal arts major here, but my basic economics says that if supply goes up and demand does not go up with it, then prices are going to go down, revenues are going to go down. And that's what we have seen. The numbers are not as good as they used to be. That said, you still can cash flow pretty well with an Airbnb. You just got to bring your A game. You got to do the property up right. I'm thinking about some clients of mine who just closed on an A-frame in the mountains in their 40s, 2 young kids. They were starting to think about their kids' future and leaving some wealth behind for them. And they thought they needed to get into a piece of property. The other thing about buying a pure short-term rental investment property is even if you were not killing it with the cash flow, you are probably going to gain in appreciation. And my opinion is that appreciation is the cake, cash flow is the icing. Most wealth in real estate is built through the appreciation of the underlying asset, and the underlying asset in this case being the house. And the third reason why I think you would buy a short-term rental here in Colorado, it's the most common reason I see. Most of my clients who have closed in the last year on short-term rentals in Colorado, this is why they bought it. And it's pretty simple. It's just a hybrid of the previous two. Yes, I want a short-term rental investment, but yes, I also want to be able to visit it, hang out with family. Real estate doesn't have to be one thing or the other. And I think sometimes people get too rigid in how they think about it. Oh, the numbers have to work no matter what. Okay, if that's your main goal, if that's your only goal, then great, go for that. But a lot of people have dual goals. They want to buy something that will make them a little bit of money, that will appreciate in value over the long term. But they also want to create memories. They want to visit a beautiful place. Colorado is a great destination. I'm thinking of a different couple of mine. They are retired. They live in New York and Florida. They don't actually even like Colorado. They told me that multiple times, but they have kids out here. So I helped them buy a mountain home that was just outside of Denver. They are going to come out and visit, hang out with their kids, probably hang out with their grandkids when those come along. And in the meantime, they'll rent it out. It's serving dual purposes for them. As with all of these reasons to buy a vacation rental here in Colorado, it's best to work with someone who understands second homes, who understands the mountains, who understands the types of inspections that you've got to do on properties up there, who understands the Airbnb rules. There's a lot of different reasons why you would buy up here, and don't let anybody tell you that there's only one right one, because real estate can serve a lot of purposes for a lot of different people, and you need to listen to what your goals are and pursue those.